time. We do our best to try to give back to whatever we receive. Meaning that when people are part of our program, we try to find a way to give them a little something for their time, because their time is valuable. And what's important for us is that when we deal with businesses, especially our Black businesses, that we deal with honor, respect, and integrity. And I don't ask, when I go to a business, whether it be white, Black, Mexican, any business, I'm not coming from a standpoint to say, give me a break on this. I want to be treated like a regular customer, and when I pay, I expect top knowledge, top dog, top, how do you say it, whatever your business has to offer, you should give your best. Because my dollar is giving my best to you, and we have to go out and get our dollars to be able to create these different types of programs. So if I come to your business and there's an issue where you may not be able to fulfill that contract, do not sit there and play games and mind games. Be honest, be upfront, and say, let's just work this thing out so we can all benefit. Because it's a reflection of who we are if we don't do good business. And bad business goes a long ways by word of mouth. And there's things that can happen, and things do happen, but you gotta be honest with yourself and be upfront whoever you're making the contract with. Because it's very important to keep that close knitness. And I like to work with all types of people. But to see this room like this, it makes it really important how it becomes a family affair. You know, sometimes they say you don't want to deal with your family because they will make sure every time. But I'm still believing that I can trust and put my faith, not just in you, but my faith in God, that you're going to produce what you say you're going to produce. And I will definitely come to you more and more and more so. And in a sense, our organization has a way to create business for our Black business that's out there. And we seek those individuals that have those type of businesses that can not only benefit our organization, but our community out in the valley. Because the Madison Valley needs to see what's really here in Anchorage and Fairbanks and Juneau and Ketchikan and all these other communities. So with that being said, again, I thank you for this time, this opportunity. We appreciate you guys coming, and that's it for now.
Is it working? There we go. All right, we have 3 remarks left, and then we want everybody to move around and network, etc. So I just wanted to acknowledge 2 different people. So first we're going to hear remarks from Cheryl Cox-Williams, who's the Region 1 President for the NAACP and the Anchorage NAACP President. And then we're going to hear remarks from Mr. Ed Wesley, who's the Alaska Black Leadership Conference President. And then we'll hear from Leslie, our main speaker, and then we'll go to networking music. So first, Cheryl.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tried it again? All right. Well, welcome, and I love looking out at all you beautiful people today. And thank you to our guests for traveling far and wide. You know, we don't really understand how big a state we got sometimes, but thank you to everyone who's here. And you know, NAACP, we're political. So I'm going to kind of bring the business to that space. Because I want you to remember the first thing I say and the last thing that I say tonight. We're going to reimagine a Black Wall Street. We're going to support small businesses, including giving constructive feedback. We don't take the money and go elsewhere, we improve what we got. You got that right. We're going to inspire, we're going to innovate, we're going to create. We're the originals at that. And I get to be with some originators at the table tonight. And I am in awe that I get to share airspace with all of the originators. Because we have something here in Alaska that nobody else gets to say. We're usually the first at everything that we do around here. Everything. We are the oldest and the youngest state. I work for my successor. I have several of my board members here. I say that ad nauseum. What does it mean? There's a Jasmine Smith behind my 55-year-old self. I work for the next generation. If you don't know me, you don't know I'm retired Army. 20 years, 0 days, 0 hours. You don't get to do what you do unless you coach and mentor and train. That is the success for all that we do. In that vein, every other word I say will be about generational something. Generational wealth, generation education sharing, generational demonstrator. I don't really need it. I want to tell you a very short story about my life. I was out of town and a condo came available. And my son, at age 27, put the down payment down for me. He was the president of the homeowners association for that condo. I am his successor as president of that homeowners association. We both don't like going to school, but we graduated on the same day with our bachelors. He went on to complete his master's in a year. I'm not paid for none of that. He's a father of 3, and he's already sold his way out of our condo association and bought his house that's detached from everybody else. Okay? I don't want us to talk about it, I want us to be about it. Youth empowerment means entrepreneurship. It means demonstrating what right looks like. It means don't patronize the youth. They have already been through so much and they know so much in a way that's different from the way that we know. Therefore, we should be listening before we talk, and then we'll bring the best out of all of us. I want us to not be afraid to be unapologetically Black. Because what I know about that color is that it absorbs light. What I know about that color, it's at the base of everything that grows. What I know about that color is a richness. What I know about that color is that you are not a single thing. Therefore, be unapologetically Black when you're doing your business. Never settle, and your dollar is your vote. I have been infamously annoying to my family. If I walk in and I don't get a good vibe, I walk out. Okay? So we already know that there have been rollbacks to our civil rights. We already know there's attacks on voting rights. We already know that there are threats to educational equity. We already know that there are criminal justice setbacks. We already know that there are economic disparities. We already know there are erosions to LGBTQ plus protections. We already know that there's a rise of hate and white supremacy, and we already know that there's environmental racism. What I want us to do now is to advocate for those voting rights, educate and mobilize our communities, strengthen our coalitions, engage in policy advocacy, focus on local elections, and empower our next generation.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Wesley is going to say some remarks, and then Leslie.
First thing I would like to do is, please help me to say to Jasmine, we appreciate you. You know, when individuals volunteer their time for their community, that's unique in these times because everybody wants to be paid for whatever they do. And so when you have someone who volunteers their time, we should appreciate that. The title of Alaska White Leadership Conference is just a title for convening a conference. I'm not speaking for the organization or anything like that, even though I have been very active in this community for years and have brought about some results. And in this time in our history, we stand in the crossroads of this global economy. We as Alaskans have an opportunity to show the world that being resilient and creative and not being deterred by what's out there. We are a very strong, creative people. We are the soul of this nation. And as being the soul of this nation, we must remember who we are. And I think back to 1857, Dred Scott. The Supreme Court ruled that we could not be citizens of this nation. Our people were sad, they were concerned that we would never be able to participate. Remember what Frederick Douglass taught us, that in the darkest of nights, the brightest stars shine the brightest. And from 1857, 8 years later, we were citizens of this nation. So at this time, we have to remember that in 1980, there was an era that was ushered in by the Reagan administration. Me, myself, and I, we cannot operate that way. We have to operate as a unit. If we operate as a unit, no one can stop us. We are the most creative people in this nation. We're the most brilliant people in this nation. We're not going to let those that are less educated in terms of what this nation needs to deter us. We are going to remain strong as a people. And I can see those times. Remember this. Daytime started at midnight. Out of darkness come light. I'm going to leave you with the story. I have a friend of mine with me who recruited me into the insurance industry in the 80s. And I came in on fire, and I won out of the 6,000 agents across the nation. I was in the top 5 in Alaska. And so they set it up for me to have lunch with a millionaire because I had won that. That's right. And I had an opportunity to meet with the governor, Walter Hickle, and his wife for 4 hours. And one of the things he said to me is that when there's a disaster, people run. He said, but you should be looking for opportunity. He said, that's what I did. I ran down here and I got this land cheap, and that's why I have the Captain Cook Hotel here today. And I'll say to all of you tonight, as you listen to what is happening in our government, look for opportunity. Stick together, and we will succeed.
All right. So thank you all again for being with us this evening, just giving off a very, very busy weekend. So tonight was literally just a thank you to everybody who's been part of it, and then welcome to those that are here with us. So I hope you go say hello and introduce yourself. So our last speaker, before we go into this entertainment, is Leslie Jennings. And I just want to say for her, I tell people all the time, when I was first starting my business and doing these events and bringing people to Alaska, nobody knew who I was, and I was at the Northway Mall, and I think we had like 5 or 6 vendors. And I remember I asked Leslie to be one of the vendors at one of my events, and at that time, my twins were, I think they were babies maybe. My glasses were broke, I had tape on them. My copies was all crooked, they weren't even straight, but I was told her I had this big old vision and dream, we was gonna do all this great stuff. And Leslie was like, okay, I'm gonna try this out with you. She was my very, very first vendor, and that was maybe like 10 years ago, and she's never missed an event, never missed a business function, so I thought it was appropriate to have her close out speaking and really talking and sharing her story. Because it's people like that who have faith in you and they believe in you when no one else does, that you have to remember no matter how good you think you're doing or when you're struggling, remember the people who were there first. So I wanted her to say some remarks before we go to entertainment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. Ditto, because you believe in me. So to follow and help me market my businesses with our community. And I couldn't have done it without this community. I'm Leslie Jennings. They also have property management company here. I'm also working in insurance.
Pull the mic closer to your mouth.
So, I was asked to talk about my journey in Alaska. I'm originally from Bama, Virginia. Got here in 1991, Halloween night, and got thrown into the thick of it actually. Came up here with a father that I didn't know. So ended up moving homeless. A lot of people didn't know that about me. Whenever I said that, but yeah, I had this great idea that I didn't need a home. After my dad told me to leave, I was like, oh, we don't know. I can just go to school during the day and maybe get a job at night and get a daytime job after work. I wasn't that smart, so at the time, I thought it was a great idea. It didn't work out, so probably already know. But from there, I realized that I had a hustle. That's when I realized I really had a hustle. I decided that I would sell my jewelry that I bought from Virginia. Picked up a phone book at the time, found all the pawn shops, and then took the bus all over, get some cash. I did enroll in college. I did get the 2 jobs. I ended up living with 2 people I met at Subway. So I was determined I wasn't going back home, and he told me to leave. So ended up back home though. So I heard some conversations going on behind closed doors and decided to call my dad. I knew he would come if I told him what the conversations were about. So he did save me from that situation. But from then on, I decided that I didn't want to work for anybody. I decided that wasn't for me. I knew that if I got a job, I'd get fired. So I better start building something. So I went on, ended up getting married to the military. And I had a child, and I knew I didn't want anybody to take care of my kids. So I started a child care business. I got licensed, and I started taking care of kids. And I became one of the well-known child care providers in the area for firstborns. You have people flying from other states to interview me, their grandparents fly to interview me. So that was one of my gifts. I knew that I had a gift for taking care of people. So that business went really well. A lot of years, and then I decided I wanted to do something different with my own business. It became older. I'm in cancer, by the way. So I decided I wanted to do something that was going to make it more money. I didn't want to cap on how much money I could make. So I decided I was going to get into real estate. That's how I got into real estate. But I got into real estate, decided that how to do it, ended up being top producer for 2020, 2021, 2022 for our brokerage here in Anchorage. And I'm very proud of that. And I couldn't have done it without our community. Because I did a lot of marketing with Jasmine's programs that she put on. And people actually were looking for me. Were looking for somebody look like them, that kind of could relate to them. And like one of the speakers up here was saying, it's how you present yourself. You know, we don't really get to be ghetto, you know what I mean, in business. You have to actually show up and present yourself the best way possible. That's one of the things I really believe in is I'm not the brand. I am the brand. So when I go out and I'm talking to people, I know that I want money. So I show up in a way that I know that'll attract business, right? So I did that. I've done quite a few businesses over the years, based on my passions, but most of the time it was based on the necessity. Raising 4 children now, I decided that whatever I was passionate about, I do that, but I always have to figure out a way to make money to pay the bills. A lot of people think, you have to make it. I don't feel like I've ever really made it, so to speak. The fact that I was able to raise my family and be home with them and just provide a good life for my children, I think that I made it, you know. So I want to say to anybody that is an entrepreneur, thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, who doesn't feel like they want to work for other people or work hours, I want to say keep going. You know, never stop. Like, I didn't stop. I just kept going and it wasn't fun. You know, it was fun. I did it because I knew that my kids had to eat and the mortgage had to be paid. So finally, I'm going to now that I'm in empty nest area and my kids are off, I feel like now I will pursue what I'm passionate about. You know, I don't have to pound the pavement as hard as I did when I was providing for family. So now I'm going to pursue what I am actually passionate about. But like I said, anybody who is an entrepreneur, thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, just keep going. You know, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your vision. If you have a vision, write it down. You know, make it plain. You know, because you can always go back and look at it and get back on track. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for having me. Everybody, have a great rest of your day.